Well, speaking of addiction and government, the second piece we want to cover is something that's near and dear to my heart, and it's something that should concern every American. Now go to that next clip. Now this is a Politico article that is written about a Quincy Institute study, which I'll have the cover of that as a clip later. But here's the title of this Politico piece: Dark Money is Tainting Washington Think Tanks. A new report shows it's worse than you think. Now go to the next one. Here is from that Politico write-up. Washington's think tank industry, and I highlighted this part, which sets the terms of debate for so much of American policymaking, is floating on a sea of foreign government and Pentagon contractor dollars. Now that's the conclusion of this new report from the Quincy Institute. Now go to the next one. Among other things, the paper says the top 50 think tanks in DC, I think, took in some $110 million over the past 5 years from foreign governments and related entities. This is a serious issue.
It must have been a shock for you to find out that the company that got the most. You've heard of this Rand company?
Yeah.
They were the top receivers.
Yeah.
Because it isn't just people donating and hiding, their propaganda. They get taxpayers' money. This is all stolen money.
Yeah.
And boy.
And you wonder, so why do we have the warfare welfare state? Emphasis on warfare. Because foreign governments that seek to benefit from our military prowess, from our finances, they will pay a think tank, and that think tank will come up with a policy paper saying, we've got to take on the Chinese. We're in danger. You find out who funded it. Now this is, I don't know if this is in the report, but the government of Taiwan, the government of what have you. So this is a huge problem because, and people I don't think realize this, the think tank, and actually our good friend Ray McGovern adds that to his military, industrial, congressional, I forget the rest of it, but the other part of it is think tank complex. And that's absolutely correct, because these are the people who, they go in and out of government. You're an assistant secretary of state, then you go to the American Enterprise Institute when your party's out of power, and then you go back in. It's a revolving door between government, and when they're out of government, they make policy. They make policy papers. They appear before Congress. You remember during the Iraq War, we kept seeing the Kagans, Fred Kagan from his think tank, always coming before Congress. The surge is working beautifully. We're about to win in Afghanistan. And this is what they do. They have enormous power.
There's two places that they prevent the public from knowing exactly what they're doing. We're talking about the Pentagon and all the spending. But what other group is never really audited, and we don't know what's going on? You can't find they do audits on the Pentagon, and the audit is to hide more stuff. The Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve, philosophically, just the professors there teach the wrong kind of thing. They don't teach Austrian economics. The thing of it is, the colleges already are controlled by big money and government. They're not not too many. There's about six private colleges or something. So if they're run by the government, but then they have these professors, and they feed special articles, and it's contrived between the professors that are working on the side and the Federal Reserve to have these dignified paper, because if you can get in onto this thing, you write a paper, you satisfy that, and that's how you get promotion.
Yeah.
And they just feed that stuff to the Federal Reserve to justify their nonsense. Whether it's defending interest rates or whatever other mischief they're doing. So I think it's interesting that those are the two things that's hardest to find out what goes on behind the scene.
Yeah.
When it comes to the militarism and also the financial system.